We've all wondered it from time to time. How do you get someone to like you? I've got some pointers today, and I hope you stick around for all of them. How to get someone to like you. You know what? I learned this from some little kids. I've shared with you before that I spent probably 12 or 13 years of my career doing child custody evaluations. I did a lot of psychological evaluations and interviews with children, with little kids. And they taught me so much. I used to have this instrument that I would use with children called a sentence completion test. And it's not really a test. It's more of an exercise to draw out some of their thinking. So there are sentence stems, and then there's a blank at the end. And you read the stem to them and they fill in the blank. And one of these was, to make friends, you have to... Now, how did you answer that? You know what? Over 90% of the kids that I shared that stem with had the same answer. Be nice. Yeah, to make friends, you have to be nice. Aren't you glad you watched? Yeah, it's that simple. You be nice. You know what? One of my colleagues, and a guy that I've admired for a long time, is Mark Gungor. Mark has a viral video that went out about A Tale of Two Brains. You've probably seen it, where he talks about men's brains and women's brains. Well, Mark is a pastor, he's a counselor, he's a thought leader in the area of relationships. And in his book, Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage, Mark said this. He said, it comes down to two words. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this, don't you? Be nice! Be nice! And notice that you've got a choice here too. Be nice. How do you get people to like you? Well, that's pretty much it. You know what? We did a video not too long ago about how to form a good first impression. Go check that one out. And another one also about how to get people to open up to you. I described in those two videos a quadrant system. I call it the influence quadrant. You're going to get some mileage out of that if you go look at that in the context of how to get people to like you. So I won't repeat all of that here. You can watch that in the other two videos. But it occurred to me that one of the things about being nice that I think would be really useful here is to give people gifts. All right. Now, I'm not saying this because I want you to send me a gift, although I wouldn't reject it if you did. I'm talking about social gifts. 4 social gifts. I was introduced to these social gifts by Dr. Anne Demarais, who wrote a book called First Impressions. And as she described what social gifts are, there's 4 of them, okay? You can get people to like you more by giving these social gifts consistently. So let's look at the 4 social gifts. The first one is appreciation and gratitude. It's a social gift. You can give this to anyone as you ask your mind, well, what is it that I'm grateful for about that person? And try to be as specific as you can. Giving the gift of gratitude and appreciation changes how people respond to you, okay? Because they feel something. Think about how you feel if someone expresses appreciation for you. Hey, you know what? I sure appreciate that you did that thing for me. Yeah, doesn't that just feel awesome? It does. And the person who's delivering the gift goes up in your esteem and your liking of them because they gave you the social gift. Same thing's going to happen for you. If you want to get people to like you more, give them some gratitude and appreciation. Show them a little love here. Okay? Second social gift, connection and commonality. What do you have in common with that person? This is very validating. When you meet someone for the first time, for example, and you're talking a little bit about what you do, or they're talking about what they do, and you find something that matches, that comes together, that you have in common, it gives you a little connection with that person, doesn't it? Yeah. So give the social gift of connection and commonality. It usually sounds something like, Oh, you're interested in leathercraft? I used to do leathercraft when I was a teenager. Loved it. What have you done recently? Okay, if that's something that you have, and I just picked leathercraft as an example, but it might be a sport. It might be a hobby. It might be a place. You see this all the time. You know, when you go to a show and the speaker or the comedian or the entertainer up on the stage says, "I'm from Lubbock, Texas." And you get cheers from back there in those seats, right? Everybody's like, "Yeah, Lubbock, Texas," or wherever it is. They get all excited. In fact, you guys who are from Lubbock, Texas, you're getting a little excited right now, aren't you? Yeah, because there's some commonality. You're like, "Oh, whoa, that's my place." And it causes people to like you more when you identify something that you have in common. That's social gift number 2, connection and commonality. What's another gift that you can give? Number 3 is enlightenment and knowledge. Remember, think of this as a social gift. It's something that you're giving to someone. If you can increase their fund of knowledge, they will naturally like you more. Try to focus in on something that is relevant to them or some of the things that you have in common. This way you can kind of magnify the social gifts. It usually shows up in the form of, "Hey, did you know?" And then you give them that new piece of information, okay? Or, "You know what I heard?" And then you give them the new piece of information. This particular social gift is all about increasing their fund of knowledge, and they will like you more as they receive that gift from you. Let's go to the 4th one. Elevation and positivity. Now, you knew I'd get to positivity, right? Because I'm the positivity guy. Yeah, of course we're going to go there. Elevation is just what it sounds like. What does an elevator do? It lifts people, right? It takes them to a higher place. You want to lift or edify or enrich them, and particularly their mood. That's why positivity is so important in this equation. So as we elevate people, it can be as simple as smiling. Just give them a good, genuine smile. And that lifts them a little bit. You see people smiling, it just changes your day, doesn't it? Try this out on the street. You know, as you're walking along and you see somebody, and just give them a big old smile, right? They're going to think you're up to something. It might weird them out a little bit. But we're talking about helping people to have an elevated mood. Humor is an important part of this particular social gift. To give them something that they can laugh a little bit about or chuckle, okay? Or just experience a little bit of elation and joy in the moment. So smiling, humor, having a pleasant disposition, having a positive attitude about things. That's the 4th social gift. How do we get people to like us more? Be nice. And that also means giving some social gifts. You don't have to do anything to get me to like you. I'm just really glad that you're here. Thanks for joining me at Live on Purpose TV.